Okay. Hello? Hello? Offie? Offie? Okay, no, Discord exploded. Offie? I know Scuff is real, very real, and I don't know why. Oh, I hear.
Scuff is real.
I hear you.
Scuff is real.
Oh my god. Why? But I don't understand. Okay, I know something now. I know what I have to do for next time.
What do you have to do?
The live is only gonna be on Twitch. Because Twitch is the only one that works properly. I don't know why. And no... Well?
Whelp.
Ah, whelp. Okay.
Whelp.
Okay. Okay, you move.
Okay.
You're moving. Okay, we're good. We appeared. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Okay. By the way, nothing much else happened. Because... But basically the thing is... Natsui was basically... We know that Natsui was the last one visiting Kinzo. And Kinzo disappeared. At this point. And I was accusing her because she's an asshole.
I lost my...
Oh, right, of course. I forgot that was the thing.
It's okay.
Okay. Jijitsu. Yes, we know where we're going to go here.
Onteva urged everyone to imagine it. Sure, that receipt could become an important point. But I didn't know which other point to tie it to or how. If we try searching for the answer Onteva probably wants, we'll find that Aunt Natsuhi lied and acted as though grandfather was in the room this morning. Has that fact been exposed by a whim of Onteva's?
Okay. Uh-huh. But if the police arrives, they could be able to find out when is that he died. So
this morning, when Aunt Natsuhi confirmed that grandfather was there, she lied. And he was already dead at the time.
And where's the corpse
then,
also?
She moved the body to some other location and tampered with it so that when we find it, we'll think it was just killed a second ago. That make it possible for her to create an alibi, even just by staying with the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Then she could say, I heard someone screaming. Dash over there and become the first to find the body along with everyone else.
Yeah, classic amogus move.
Yes. Is that what Dante was saying?
バカバカしい。推理小説など所詮は娯楽小説。そんなものばかり読んでいるからそのような不謹慎な発想に至るのです。
She got a point.
Yeah.
死亡時刻を少しくらいごまかしたって、そんなの警察が検視すりゃ一発で。
See, someone is got a brain here. Okay.
古典の世界だったらともかく、現代日本でそんなトリック本気で通用すると思ってんのかよ。おかしいぜ。
Would you like to continue reading?
Yeah, sure.
今朝、南條先生が亡くなった人たちの死体を見て、死亡時刻を曖昧に見積もられた。
Yes, but it's not like he's specialized in that. So
Right,
also,
it's just a regular practitioner.
yeah, it's a regular doctor. So
検視結果は環境や個体差に非常に左右されやすい。
yes, but still.
数時間単位で誤差の出る非常にアバウトなものなのよ。
Yeah, not days.
しかも困ったことに、警察の科学的な捜査は明日にならない。そこまでの正確な死亡時刻を測ることなんて、ジェシカちゃんの言う現代。
No, you're just trying to convince everyone else of that. That's all. You don't convince anyone.
ねえ、南條先生。
経験と勘の必要な非常に難しい作業です。誤審率も非常に高いと聞いております。
When is this game set? Years?
1983, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so it's not that many years ago. They should have modern medicine, so it's possible. Yes, okay, even today you can make mistake for like 1-2 hours, but it's pretty precise if you think about it.
確かにほんの数時間程度の誤差を出してしまうことは大いにあり得るでしょうな。
Just a few hours, not that much.
しかしアリバイの世界は数時間もあれば十分やで。古典のトリックとちゃう。十分に通用するトリックなんや。
You two are working too much together at this point. I don't like this.
Yes.
夏日姉さん、わしらあんたを疑いたいわけやないんやで。疑いとうないから潔白を示して。
Yes. Mm-hmm.
何の潔白を示せという。
Oh, she got the gun again.
今朝私は
86, sorry.
Still.
そして心の中に片翼のわしを刻めとお言葉をいただいて、あのお言葉をも否定するというのですか。それだけは断じて許せません。
Also, we know that they told because we saw that. Still, they don't know, but.
かけられた言葉までも否定することは断じて許せません。あるいはお父様の遺体は出てこないのかしら。普通失踪は死亡宣告に7年かかるもん。余命残りわずかなお父様を7年も延命し、その財産を独占するにはなんともうまいやり方。
Oh, now you're playing that card. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
I knew it. Oh, new music.
Yes.
私は後ろ宮夏希、この身に片翼のわしをまとう資格はなくとも胸の中にしかと刻まれています。当主跡継ぎのクラウスの妻としてその責務を代行する私に向かって何たる暴言。何？
Oh, look at that face.
その銃で私を撃つの？いいわよ。
Oh man.
どうせ言い逃れも思いつかなくて苦し紛れなんでしょ。
She's basically condemned in herself though, if you think about it.
やりなさいよ。暴力で真実をごまかしてごらんなさいよ。
It wasn't like Hannah Suhi had been actually holding that gun at the radio and treating anyone, but as she was egged on by Aunt Eva, she didn't hold it at the radio. Egged on? Is it really a thing?
Let's see. To encourage someone to do something.
Oh, okay. I had no idea about that you could say that. Okay.
It's a very random phrasal verb.
That's okay. Egg. The lady looking crazy? Yeah, because she is kind of crazy. And surprisingly, once things got to this stage, Jessica and Genji-san trying to stop her. Oh my god, someone is holding a rifle in a decent way. Look at that. You never see it in any media someone holding a rifle in the decent way.
Right way. Nice.
I am not kidding. She's putting the back of the gun on her shoulder because if you do it in any other way, you're gonna break your arms. I'm not kidding. That happens.
No, I know that. Good job, Nat.
落ち着いてえな、夏井姉さん。確かにお父さんは部屋にいたと誓ってくれればいいんやで。それだけなのに、なんでそんなに取り乱しとるんや。
I don't know.
それもそうです。夏井さんは嘘をついていない。それだけのことじゃありませんか。
だから説明して、お父様がどうやって部屋から窓は内側からしっかり閉じられていた。扉も同じよ。今朝夏日姉さんが間違いなくお父様、夏日姉さんには開かぬ扉。
Oh, happy birthday!
いかにしてお父様が部屋からいなくなったかを説明してもらわなくちゃ。じゃないと。
I think it's we know that she met him, so...
あなたという人はと反論したいならぜひしなさいな。そうね、今すぐこの場で釈明をしてみなさい。そうしたらあなたを疑ったことをあの書斎の密室からお父様はいかにして抜け出したのか。そんなこと説明もできませんし不要です。そうなら私が説明してあげる。私の立場も姉さんの立場もいいとこ取りのとても仲良しな説明なんだから。姉さんの言う今朝の時点でお父様が在室していたことを信じてあげるわよ。
But no, it's because I'm reading. I look down sometimes and it looks like my eyes are closed.
No, same all the time.
でも次に扉が開かれた時にお父様はいなかった。ここまでは依存ないわよね。あなたの言うことにこれ以上耳を傾ける気はありません。
Also true. Understandable.
その軽薄な口を慎みなさい。私の推理はこうよ。扉から姉さんしか出入りしていないことはそしてレシートもそれを立証しているにもかかわらずお父様を部屋から出すパズルの答えは窓よ。窓から出したのよ。夏日姉さんはお父様を3階の書斎の窓から突き落としたのよ。
What? Okay.
Who wouldn't do that?
Decado.
奥様来ないでください。
Oh no, it's meme on Kamen Rider because there's this dude in Kamen Rider Decado that goes Honore Decado every time he's there. You just say that and then leaves, and that's the meme.
Okay, okay.
It's like it's all Decade's fault basically.
エヴァ様、どうかおやめくださいませ。その後、中庭に転落して死んだお父様の遺体は、夏日姉さんが屋敷内の戸締まりを確認すると言って。
Okay. Then explain these. If she went outside, someone would have noticed that she would have been wet by the rain also.
多分その時に死亡時刻を偽る工作もしたんでしょうね。
クラウス兄さんたちの事件も、さらに昨べのビアトリーチェの事件もひっくるめて、ナスシさんが怪しい可能性が非常に高いっちゅうことだ。
What about the letter also?
こんなことを言いたくはない。
Normally it wouldn't want to say this. Yes.
Normally.
だがもうぶちまけてしまったからには仕方がない。頼むわ、夏日姉さん。どうか自分の無実を説明してくれんか。さもないとわしはあんたを疑わなきゃならんのや。
なぜこの私が、後宮夏日が、このような恥ず
Poor
かしな。
Natsuki.
Oh yeah. Looks like we've got everyone views on record now. There we go.
ダメだな。
He is ready.
全然ダメだぜ。エヴァおばさん。
ダメって。
Oh, I know something.
バトラ
Jessica looked up at me, hanging on to my every word. Onteva's expression was confident as ever.
全然ダメって何が？バトラ君、聞かせてよ。
一方からしか見られないが、夏代おばさんしかありえないって思い込んじまうのさ。別に夏代おばさんを擁護するわけじゃねえが、そんなハったりのチェックメイトじゃ通用レシートを軸にした推理はまずまずだとは思う。筋は悪くない。だが俺の採点じゃせいぜい65点ってとこだ。
I mean that it could have been faked also that because only she knew about that. So what proof is that?
これが答案なら居残りで報酬ってとこだぜ。
あら、じゃあレシートで封印されている扉をどうやって破ってお父様を失踪させられるというの？私の
エヴァおばさんの説は確かに面白い。そしてその説以外にじい様が失踪できる方法がない最終目撃者である夏日おばさんが黒であると確かに言い切れるだろう。だが夏日おばさんが無実で濡れ衣である可能性が残っている以上、そうだと断言することはできねえ。
ならバトラ君は夏日姉さん以外の誰にお父様を失踪させられたというの？姉さんしかありえないのよ。私のレシートがそれを証明してしまったわ。一度目に書斎に訪れた夏日姉さん、そして二度目に私と訪れるまでの間、書斎は完全に密室で密室開封後には失踪している。これで夏日姉さんが犯人じゃないというなら、どんなトリック
It could also be the Kinzo got his own key and went out with the door, so the receipt would disappear in that case as well. Would go down the door in that case as well.
だから65点なんだよ、エヴァおばさん。じゃあここでチェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。どうやって外部からじい様を失踪させるかじゃない。どうやって内部からじい様が失踪するかって考えるんだ。扉にはレシートが挟まれていたから窓も出ることはできても外側からは施錠できず、だから窓も使用されていない。その時点では確かに書斎は密室だった。これは認めるしかない。だがしかし書斎は永遠に密室だったわけじゃない。レシートの封印さえ解かれれば扉は使用可能になり脱出可能になる。 つまり夏日おばさんがどうやってじい様を失踪どうやってじい様は書斎を脱出したのかって考えるんだよ。じい様の書斎はただの書斎じゃねえんだよな。源氏さんの話じゃトイレからキッチンベッドルームまであるちょいとした家並みじゃねえか。
Uh-huh.
例えばベッドの下にでも
Oh, also that, yes.
おばさんたちは部屋からいなくなったと
Also,
思い込める
the
ぜ。
simplest thing.
Yeah.
エヴァおばさん
This is
そこ
way
まで調
easier.
べてきたわけじゃねえだろ。そしておばさんたちは失踪したと思い
And then he could have gone away in that moment. Yes.
この時レシートはもうない。つまりじい様は密室である間は部屋に隠れ続け、エヴァおばさんたちをやり過ごした後に部屋から脱出することでこの密室を破ることができる。
何よそれ。どうしてお父様がそんな妙なことをして部屋を抜け出さなきゃならない。高等無形にも程があるわよ。
Skinzo.
Yeah, also that. He had to meet his waifu.
Yes.
それでも夏日おばさんが濡れ衣かもしれない可能性は示してる。エヴァおばさんのレシートは完璧じゃねえ。チェスで言えばチェックだがチェックメイトじゃねえ。そして俺が最高に気に入らねえのはそれを夏日おばさんに釈明しろと迫ってそれができなきゃ黒だって断定しよう。
Someone got a brain in this room.
それがまかり通るってんだな。この後ろ宮バトラー。ここでもう一回
Oh, oh, objection moment.
Objection.
Objection. This is literally a reference. Come on, it's basically
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
same. It's basically the same frame.
But I remember a lot of memes back in the day.
This is definitely. Come on, this is definitely. I need to take a screenshot of this. Sorry, because this is this is too good. Can you remove the?
I think you can. Wait.
I don't know how though. I also think I did it, but I don't know how.
Clear.
Clear? Oh, okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Objection.
It's definitely the objection meme. Come on.
Yeah.
Definitely that.
エヴァおばさん、あんたの論法によるならよ、あんたと秀吉おじさんが昨日親父たち6人を殺害してからのこの
There
こ
we
ゲストハウスに
go.
帰ったんじゃないってことをこの場で釈明してもらわなくちゃならない。
Thank you, since you are the most sus at this moment, other than Natsui.
釈明を強いたんだ。あんたにはもちろん
ね。
自身の潔白を釈明でじいさまの遺産が全部転がり込むエヴァおばさんよ。
そうだぜ。エヴァおばさんだって十分怪しいじゃねえかよ。母さんがじい様の最終目撃者だから怪しいって言うなら、エヴァおばさんだって父さんたちの最終目撃者じゃないか。バトラの言う通りだぜ。自分たちは殺してないってことを証明してみせろよ。
僕もお母さんの推理は少し勇み足だと思うな。レシートの件は確かに重要なヒントだと思う。でもそれはバトラ君の言う通り、
Okay.
何がしかの犯人。僕たちは等しく夏日おばさんだけが責められる道理はない。
誇り高きお父様が床に這いつくばってベッドの下に。
It's Kinzo who was screaming Beatrice alive for 2 hours earlier, so that's the least strange thing he could have done.
Yes.
そんな誰事で説明がつくと思って。
それならエヴァおばさんが先に説明しろよ。6人を誰がどうやって殺して、そして自分が関わっていないという証拠を示してみろってんだ。
Oh, calm down, girl. Oh, that's bad. What the?
Asthma. Let's go.
She got asthma?
Yep. I thought she had one attack before.
Did she?
お嬢様、お嬢様。
Oh yes, on the beach, if I recall.
Yeah, I think so.
I forgot about that. Jessica suddenly started coughing. Terrifying, to be honest. Yes, I could imagine. At first I thought she was just choking after yelling too loud, but before long I realized how painful it looked. Just kept coughing and choking down on her hands and knees.
ジェシカ、しっかり。南條先生。
ジェシカさん、吸入器を早く。私が持ってきているのがあります。
Dr. Nanjo pulled a bronchodilator inhaler from his own bag, which was lying on the sofa, and handed it to Jessica. Come to think of it, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica sometimes break into violent coughing fits and have to use that? Saying Nanjo, yes, definitely. Nanjo is thrown in the middle sometimes and he's like,
Yes.
oh, guys, I didn't really want to say this, but actually... and it's like the victim in all of this. However, 6 years ago, I never saw Jessica look like she was in this much pain. I mean, she was also screaming, so it makes sense.
ジェシカってこんなに喘息ひどかったっけ？
ここ数年でだいぶ悪くなったんだよ。大丈夫な時はいいんだけどね。突然発作が来ると咳が止まらなくなるんだよ。
That's the most realistic coughing I ever heard in a video game, I have to be honest.
Yes.
お嬢様、お薬です。さあ。
Taking the air from Kanon-kun, Jessica used it with a practiced hand. It looked like her throat would still itch for a while, but she had it under control.
大丈夫かよ、ジェシカ。びっくりしたぜ。
大したことねえよ。心配すんじゃねえぜ。
Man, that's a sweet covered Jessica's whole body, and she couldn't hide her rough breathing, but looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. This disturbance had made the dangerous atmosphere until now seem slightly unfocused, but that's fine. That kind of battle of mutual suspicion is completely unnecessary. When you think about it, finding alibis for each other and looking for the culprit is probably meaningless. After all, we're just powerless, ordinary people. And when the police come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting-edge technique and investigate the case thoroughly. Solving all of the riddles and arresting the culprit.
確かにバトラ君の言う通りかしら。夏日姉さんが疑わしいように、私たちも疑わしさを拭う。それを今議論し合うのは確かに不毛ね。明日、警察に全てを任せれば済むだけの話。
I bet the police won't arrive tomorrow. I have this feeling.
でも、バトラ君だって知りたいんじゃない？犯人を。大切な人を失った痛みを思い知らせてやるために。
Oh, now you're playing that card. You're a...
Yes.
それは否定しないです。これだけの上等を決めてくれやがった野郎を。たとえ、でも。だからといって、さっきはああ言ったが、俺は、エヴァおばさんだって疑いたくない。俺にとってのエヴァおばさんは、茶目っ気があって、いつも楽しくさせてくれる最高のおばさんだ。
Are you talking about the same person that we're seeing right now, Butler? Are you sure?
そんなおばさんと、こんな罵り合いはしたくねえ。ここにいる誰だって、そんなことは望んでねえはずさ。だろ、みんな。
バトラ君に同じ意味のない罵り合いだね。多分これだけの人数が朝からひとところにずっと集まってるから。
無理もないことです。言ってできるものではありませんが、なるべく皆さんリラックスしましょう。
Yep.
エヴァ、わしらも頭を冷やすべきとちゃう。レシートの件は確かにお父さんの警察が来たら話すといいやろ。
There, I know you were very proud about that receipt, but that's fine. You did good.
レシートの一件でつい鬼の首を取ったような気持ちになっちゃったの。確かに夏日姉さんだけを疑うのは私たちだって等しく疑わしい。でもね、バトラ君、レシートの話だけは本当これそしてこれがどういう意味を持つか、もう一度よくか。
Aunt Eva and Uncle Yoshi stood up and looked at their plan on leaving the parlor.
結局私たちはこんな推理ごっこしても意味はないのよ。だってどうせ警察が全て明かしてくれるんですもの。
That's right, even if you don't play this detective game, the typhoon will pass. And when those lively seagulls return to the arbor, everything will settle itself. That's right.
Uminekoの泣く殺し。
Yeah. If you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It will definitely be resolved, even if you do nothing. When the seagulls cry. Oh, that's why when the seagulls cry. Okay, it's basically saying when the seagulls cry, everything's gonna go back to normal.
Yes.
私も同じよ。確か姉さんは昨日ゲストハウスに帰らなくて済むようにって客室を用意してあそこはバスもトイレもあるし、横になれるベッドもあるし、主人もマリアちゃんとチャンネル争いをせずにテレビを見ることができるわ。
Uh-huh.
お好きになさるといいです。でもくれぐれも
Okay, she surrendered basically.
そして余計なお世話よ。姉さんはみんなの監視をよろしくね。犯人はこの中に必ずいるんだから。そして姉さんも自分が監視をされていることをお忘れなく。
Honestly, Natsui, if you shoot her right now, they're gonna give you a medal, probably, or something like that.
捨て台詞はそれで十分ですか？十分よ。じゃあね、夏日姉さん。源氏さん、夕食になったら呼んでね。それまでチェーンをかけて閉じこもってるわ。源氏、かの、お二人を客室までお送りを。結構、送り狼なんて、むしろ、私たちが部屋に行くまで誰もこの部屋を出ないでくれる方が安心。ジョージ行くわよ。
So you can do whatever you want?
Yes.
僕はここでみんなといるよ。
ジョージ、この部屋に犯人がいる。そんなところにいるつもり？
この部屋を出るということは親族の誰かを疑うのと同じこと。僕はあんな恐ろしいことができる人間が親族。
ジョージ、あなたからも言ってやってよ。
ジョージももう一人前の男や。そのジョージの仁義がこの部屋から出えへん言わせるなら、それも勝手やろ。好きにさせたれ。
父さん。
Aunt Eva and Uncle Yoshi left. The only voice that called after them was the sound of the rain. The parlor was being buried beneath the savage atmosphere. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to find that it was already evening. I've really spent that much time worrying about needless things, talking with each other, fighting with each other. Feeling bored, I started scratching my head when Maria and I made eye contact. I was a little surprised since I thought she was completely immersed in the TV.
今なら信じるぜ。手紙も殺人もすべてベアトリーチェの仕業だ。いや、むしろ頼むからそうだと名乗り出てほしいぜ。
Oh.
19人目の仕業ってことにさせて。
Oh, okay.
俺たち18人はいつまでも互いを疑い、これなら19人目の存在を信じる方がマシさ。扉も窓も開けずにじいさまを外へ連れ出すなんて。ベアトリーチェならお茶の子さいさいなんだろう。
Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head and then raised her face again. There we go. You have the crazy one again.
魔女の前に扉の鍵なんて何の役にも立たないんだよ。ベアトリーチェは72中のすべてに精通する。33位のガープは望む相手を望む場所へ瞬時に運ぶ力を与えるし、 彼女にとってどのような密室に閉じこもった人間だろうと連れ出すことは難しいことでも何でもないんだよ。
魔女はすげえな。頼むから。もしまだ事件を起こす気なら、絶対に人間には無理なことをして、俺に19人目を。いや、魔女の存在を信じさせてくれよ。
いいよ。あったら伝えておくよ。
Crap. Nothing else. Nothing made sense to me for a while now. Just when I want to believe a 19th person exists, I deny it. And just when I want to believe there are only 18 people, I deny that too. Even though I want there to be more than just 18 people here. I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. In short, even though there are more than 18 people, there are less than 19 people. Eh? Did you hurt your head, Butler?
He's confused. He's extremely confused.
The number of people in this mansion is... Oh, it's between 18 and 19.
Yeah.
Okay. I 18 and a half. So the number of people can be represented by an integer. You're going very... How does these people that wrote that knew all this stuff? Knows about demons, knows about numbers, knows about everything. What the heck?
Took a long time to write.
I see the work here. I definitely see the work. However, it's impossible for there to be anything after the decimal point. You shouldn't be able to show the number of people with anything but an integer. And yet, 19... Number between 19 and 18. How do you explain the fraction less than 1? It's no wonder that 19% was something that couldn't be seen. That's why, since you can only write the number of people as an integer, you couldn't see that person. That which cannot be seen, because Beatrice had no body. Therefore she is invisible. Is there a 19th person or not? Does the witch exist or not? The witch exists somewhere in that X. Okay, it's 7 now.
Yes.
Random text box, okay. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. That began to feel like discussion of the case was itself a taboo. So no one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those were what filled our minds. After all that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So at least on the outside, the parliament once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled.
少しだけ雨足が弱まった気がするね。
まだいっぱい降ってるよ。おー。
仮にやんだって、この島には船がねえんだしな。船が明日すぐに来てくれりゃいいんだがよ。洋館バカンさんもうお腹いっぱいだぜ。
She laughed about Butler.
明日船はいつ来るのかな。
本来なら帰りの船は今日の3時に来てくれることになっていま
Oh,
し
in
た。
the morning, okay.
先方も台風が過ぎてから来直すと電話をしてくれたでしょうが、あいにく電話は普通ですから。でも向こうも子供の使いではありません。客人の方々の送迎目的だと教えてありますから、おそらく明日の朝一番で、多分9時頃くらいに来てくれるでしょう。
It was completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. She laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of Goda's artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, who was trying to enliven everyone's low spirit with some food. Kumasawa wasn't nearly as talented as a talented professional cook like Goda, but she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was something highly praised. Canon arranged the food Kumasawa had finished creating on plates under her direction. Canon also helped in the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in that role, it was slightly awkward even though he tried his best.
Mm.
Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't cleverly arrange the food, Kanon's expression darkened slightly. But Kumasawa smiled and thought everything was fine.
綺麗に盛り付けられてますよ。カノン君もお上手ですよ。
Please put the canon for me, please.
Oh yeah, oh wait. Everyone can see the mouse, yes. There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
Honestly, Shannon is like the grandma everyone would want.
Kumasawa?
Sorry, Kumasawa, not
Yeah.
I said Canon because the name was written there. That's all.
Yeah.
もっと綺麗に。
Mm.
Canon stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Canon was doing it instead. And as she remembered Canon's face and her brutal end, grimaced. Genji spoke kindly to Callan as he advanced upon. Angel escaped from the parlor once the mood had grown sour, and Genji had become his opponent in a game of chess upon Nanjo's request. Oh, okay. That's right, we know that Nanjo likes to play chess, so...
Yes.
今は忘れます。
それがいいだろう。
Genji purposely refrained from facing Canon as he spoke. It is so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Canon if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Nanjo also understood that and held back any thoughtless words.
金蔵さんもどこへ行かれたんでしょうな。ご無事だといいのですが。わかりません。ただ、すべては親方様が望まれ、仕組まれたことのように思っています。それを邪推することは、親方様にお仕えする家具には過ぎたことです。源氏さんは怖くないのですか。私には今夜まだ何か。 良くないことが起こるような気がして。
Oh, it's definitely gonna happen.
怖いことなど何、私はただ後ろ宮家にお仕えするだけですので。
Nanjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move. Nanjo was very slightly dubious. Could Genji possibly be thinking that he'd be left out of this? He couldn't even imagine what was happening inside his mansion. I definitely couldn't deny the possibility that Kinza had devised something. If you liken this island to chess, Kinza had opened the game, and as a result, 6 pieces had been defeated. Could it be that Genji was calm because he believed that he alone was on the outside of the chessboard and therefore safe? Nanjo thought about it. Isn't everyone just a piece on this chessboard lineup equally, without any exceptions? Wasn't even Genji who had gained more of Kinza's trust than anyone? No, was confident of his position as Kinza's only close friend. Just another one of the pieces laid out on the chessboard.
私は今夜が本当に怖いのです。無事に明日の朝を迎えられることを心より願っています。
The guest room Eva and Yoshi moved into had originally been built to house guests before the guest house construction. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in these rooms Oh, every family conference, and we're very familiar with that. I wasn't really understand the every family part because it wasn't the other line. This room was just like a room at a hotel, with a bedroom and a bathroom. So even though they were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than a parlor.
やっぱり家族だけだとリラックスできるな。他のみんなも客室にこもって鍵をかけてりゃええんや。
夏日姉さんが客間を出るなって威張り散らしてるんだもん。
Now you're playing this part? What the hell?
誰も口答えなんてできないでしょ。あの人、ずーっと冷や飯を食ってきたから、兄さんが死んでやっと天下が来たって張り切ってんのよ。まったく、ずうずうしいったらあるしな。
まあそう言うな。夏日さんもあれで結構頑張っとるんやで。お前もそう突っかからんでもええやないか。さっきのレシートの件もあそこまでは言い過ぎやで。
Thank you.
だってあそこで言わなかったらもう言うタイミングがないんだもん。
I was sulking cutely and looking at the Latvian sat alongside Hideyoshi was lying on the bed.
でも、
Oh,
こうして二人きりになるのはずいぶん久しぶりよね。
そうやな。思えばわしもお前も老けたもんや。ジョージが生まれてから何もかもがあっと。
本当にあ
is this going where I think it's going?
Can you feel the flag rising?
Oh yes, yes.
子供を作る
Should we really look at these right now? I mean, I looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yeah, she had thought of it as once in a lifetime chance. Her older brother Kraus had been unable to father a child for quite some time. 6 years passed after this marriage to Natsuhi without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. Eversal had thought that since her name would be moved outside the Shinomiya register when she got married anyway, it didn't matter whether a successor to Hechi was born or not. And then one day, she had a little revelation. Or maybe it was a whispering of the devil that she had listened on to in her greed. If she could give birth to a successor first, wouldn't she be able to remain in the Shinomiya register? If things went well, might she have a chance to inherit the Shinomiya family herself? When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he had approved of it instantly. This wasn't because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more the long-forgotten thing called family. So that they got married, and he hadn't fussed over which last name they were to keep. And quickly agreed to have his name entered into the Shinomiya family register. It hadn't been easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Eva knew Kinzo's personality well. So by choosing time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuhi, she was magnificently able to make him accept Hideyoshi as an adopted son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and approved his transfer into the Shinomiya register. He would eventually become successor to the Shinomiya family. They had raised him with strictly with that purpose in mind. Like we didn't notice, he had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went.
Perfect boy.
Perfect boy, of course. Have a good night, Mikhail. Thank you for passing by. That was why he had not been permitted to fall in love with a servant like Shannon, of course.
Of course.
So when she learned that Shannon was dead and the engagement was now invalid, though part of her head had still been shocked by the gruesome crime, part of her had also been relieved that dear George couldn't be stolen by some servant girl.
クラウス兄さんのことが昔から嫌いだったわ。偉そうで威張ってて。自分がやがては当主になるのだと自慢してて。だから、それに一矢報いてやりたかった。でも、それは子供の頃の感情なのよ。
Maybe not.
でもその感情は、結局、自分の人生のほとんどを支配した。それだけならまだいい。その感情は、あなたやジョージまで巻き込んで振り回してしまった。
エヴァ、備え自分を責めるな。
Yeah, she got up and held the shoulder. She could feel a warm understanding from him.
わしはな、自分の人生はもうとっくに折り返しに入っとる。でもな、今日までの生活を後悔したことは一度もないで。一度もや。エヴァと一緒で他の男どもじゃ味わえん楽しい人生になったと思っとる。戦争で身寄りを失ったわしにもう一度家族のぬくもりを教えてくれた。だから後宮の家には感謝しとるし、わしとお前が歩んできた人生にな、今日までほんまに。
Okay, they are definitely the two that are close, these two.
ありがとう。あなた。
Covering her head, burning facing the Yoshi's chest. Probably, no one in the parlor could even imagine that this side of Eva existed.
感謝するのはわしや。今日までお前と一緒にいて後悔した日なんてあらへん。
私もよ。あなたと一緒になれて。よかった。
ジョージももう立派な大人や。わしが見張ってなくてもしっかり仕事ができる一人前や。で、正月あたりをのんびりモルジブあたりで過ごさんか。わしら二人水いらずや。
いやよ、毎年年賀状の返礼で寝る暇もないとか言ってるじゃない。
次の正月だけはなしや。年賀状はみん黙って下のお年玉くじだけチェックするんや。今年はカラーテレビくらい当てたいで。
やだ。モルジブでお年玉くじのチェックなんてしたくない。
じゃあそいつもなしや。水いらずのんびりで、ジョージが生まれる直前の新婚時代の続きをちょいとし、
それならいいわね。
モルジブはええとこらしいで。なんもない島に美しいサンゴ礁と水上コテージが並んでてな。
Well, basically you're there right now.
新婚時代の続きっていつからなの？
仕事納めしたらすぐや。旅行店に聞いてみんとわからんが、多分大晦日前には。
いや、今すぐがいい。
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, Umineko is 18 plus, but not in this way.
Okay. I mean,
So don't worry.
Evan like these leaps in a peevish yet flirtatious manner. The only sound that filled the room were the distant voice of the announcer of the news, which Hideyoshi had left on, and the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. Okay. Okay. Change of scene.
I think. Wait, let me see.
What are you saying?
No, let's continue for a little bit more.
That's okay. There was a knock on the door and Genji-san entered.
奥様、お夕食の準備が、お食事はまたこちらでよろしいですか？
ええ、ここへ運ばせなさい。南條先生はまだ厨房にいる。
はい。次の一手を熟考したいとおっしゃっております。
Oh, on chess.
ご
Okay.
安心を。他の使用に
Honestly, if there's one that I believe it's not, it's Nanjo.
Yeah.
源氏さんはじい様の相手ができるくらいチェスが強いもんな。南條先生よりも強いらしいぜ。
そうなんだ。昔相手をしてもらったことがあるけど、あれは
マリア、お もうすぐ飯だそうだぜ。しかし、よく一日中テレビを見ていて飽きねえな。
いつもテレビいっぱい見てるから
マリアちゃんはテレビっ子なんだね。
食事だから机の上を片付けないとダメだぜ。
Anyway, torn several pages out of Maria's notebook, and there was now a mess where everyone had been drawing together. Jessica began cleaning that up quickly. Still, everyone here really can draw. I'd never guessed.
現時エヴァさんたちにもせめて食事くらい一緒にしないかとお声をかけなさい。
Okay.
どうせ断るでしょうが。
かしこまりました。
お父様の次はエヴァさんですか。つくづく後ろ宮家の食卓には
Oh,
全員がそう
I
です
see.
ね。
She felt her head start throbbing again and lightly hurt her temples. Okay, this is the moment when we find the two of them dead, or one of the two dead in a closed room. They couldn't be opened from the outside. The distance from the kitchen to the parlor wasn't that great, so Genji had gone and come back by himself, but the guest room was a little further away. Matsui had warned him to avoid being alone whenever possible, and just now, Naja had also admonished him, saying it would be better if he had a little more concern for his safety. Kano accompanied Genji, and the two of them went to visit Eva and Hideyoshi in their guest room. Genji knocked on the door.
エヴァ様、秀吉様、お夕食の準備が整いました。
We waited a short while for them to come out, but there was no response.
源氏様、これは
Kano pointed under the door. A western envelope had been inserted under it. Normally, when something was inserted this way, it'd be interpreted as a message from someone outside, someone to the room. Since this might be a private note for Eva and Hideyoshi, it was not something the Kano and Genji were supposed to take interest in. But this western envelope was one of Kinzo's, the same kind as the one Maria has taken out last night and surprised everyone with.
間違いない。親方様の封筒だ。
あるいは
Even though this was one of Kinzo's envelope, the letter Maria read aloud the previous night hadn't come from Kinzo. Genji continued knocking a little harder and called out in a loud voice.
エヴァ様、源氏でございます。いらっしゃいますか。お返事をお願いいたします。エヴァ様。
But there was no response from inside. They're dead. Sometimes when the servant went to call someone guests for a meal, the guests would be sleeping so deeply that they wouldn't wake up. In times like that, the servant would stick a letter in the door to show that it was time to come out and then leave the guest be. By despite, I don't think that's the case for doing that right now, at least. But despite that, Genji beat even harder on the door and called out Eva's name. However, there was no answer. Kano stuck his head up to the door, held his breath, and listened for any sound coming from inside.
テレビの音らしきものが。でも気配が感じられません。お部屋は空っぽかも。
Genji took out a handkerchief and careful not to touch it with his bare hands, gently pulled out the envelope that had been stuck under the door. It was sealed with deep red sealing wax. Without a doubt, the mark on that sealing wax had come from the Ushiromiya family's head ring.
エヴァ様、エヴァ様、どうかお返事を。もうお部屋にはいらっしゃいませんか。
But there was still no answer. There was a chance that those two were aimlessly working around in the mansion. This was the home Eva had grown up in. There was plenty of reason to think that she had gone out on a casual stroll. Genji groped around in his pocket and pulled out the bundle of keys, which contained the key that would open the guest room.
源氏様。
Kano also understood what this meant. They would also sometimes unlock the doors so they could go in and do things like make beds, but only after they made sure the guests were out. To unlock the door for any other reason, especially to do so when there was a chance the guest hadn't given permission might still be in there was an action unbecoming of a servant. It's not time to think about that right now.
Exactly.
But Genji had decided. If the only problem had been that his knock hadn't received a reply, it would have gone this far. But the envelope was doubtlessly one of Kinzo's, or rather one of the western envelope of the Ushirimiya family had. After last night, the sender of this envelope could be someone other than Kinzo. If this letter had been sent by someone else, after giving that final notice, Genji stuck one of the keys from the bundle into the keyhole. Was the sound of the door unlocking, and after slowly turning the knob, he slowly started opening the door. Light seeped through the crack of the door. Were they in the room? Or had they forgotten to turn on the lights? It was the sound of the door chain being... Told you! Being pulled tight, the chain had been secured. The chain couldn't be secured from the outside, so it also proved that they were in the room. The sound of voices on the TV seeped out of the room. The lights, the chain, and the TV, all these things made clear they were in the room. But there was no sign of them. Genji called to Eva once again through the crack of the door, but there was no answer. Cut the chain and enter? As part of the job, the server weren't able to unlock almost any lock in the mansion, but they had no way to open a door with a chain, of course. The only way to get by the chain was to cut it. War center did not permit it as part of servant's usual work. A creepy chill had already rushed up their backs. Kano held his breath and tried to send someone through the door, but even so, he was not able to sense anyone. As Kano ordered a way to get cut into, Genji called him to a stop. Good idea.
Yes.
Looking like Kano was wondering why he had to go to do some troublesome in the middle of this urgent situation. But Genji had said it out of weariness. He didn't care what happened to himself. But in the worst case scenario, he didn't want anything to happen to Canon. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was piling food on the serving cart, and Nanjo was waiting for Genji, apparently wanting to show him a move it finally thought up that might turn the tables on him. But Genji's appearance immediately told him there was something wrong. Okay. He took Nanjo, still didn't know what was going on, and quickly left the chicken. The chicken? I made your mistake last time.
Yes.
Kumasawa-san. Kumasawa said almost exactly the same thing as Nanjo, unable to take the situation, and chased after Kano, who had flown out into the alleyway. Taking Kumasawa with him, Kano went to a storage room and looked through the tools packed in toolboxes hanging all over the walls, trying to find something that could be used to cut the chain. Took Kumasawa some time to figure out how cutting the chain and Eva and Yoshi not answering were connected, but she did realize that this was an urgent situation. Canon took down a very large wire cutter that had been hanging onto the wall. It was called a cutter, but maybe it'd be easy to understand if you said it was shaped like a large pair of pliers. Canon remembered once being warned that this dangerous tool could easily cut through one of your fingers. Oh yes, I understand what which tool we're talking about.
Which is over here. Però grosso.
Sono quelle fatte apposta per tagliare il metallo.
Sì.
Made to cut steel.
Metal, yeah.
Kano took that and rushed up the stair. He already knew instinctively. He should fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Or perhaps he was already... Oh, she cannot keep up with him, of course, she's old. Kumasawa eventually caught up with him, grasping Ray with both hands on her knees. And Kano changed his grip on the wire cutter and looked up at the door. He let on struck speechless. There we go. Kumasan screamed weakly, her face pallid. There was no surprise, because right there on the door, just like the magic circle that had been drawn on the shutter of the Rose Garden storehouse, there was another eerie shape drawn with a blood-like paint. However, it would be odd to call this one a magic circle. I mean, it's squared. Because unlike what most people would expect, it wasn't a circle with shapes drawn inside. It was a slightly more complicated geometrical shape. However, those strange characters filling the gaps which weren't from the alphabet were the same kind as the one that magic circle on the shutter. But the thing that kind of struck speechless was how eerie the magic circle was. It was something like this hadn't been here a short while ago. I mean, it definitely was on the door earlier, because or else Genji and Kano would have noticed. First, he had taken a trip back to the kitchen. After that, he gone to the storage room to grab a tool and he headed back. Put those together, and it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone add something this creepy during that period of time? And the study had just been drawn, almost like the door itself was bleeding. Several unsettling vertical red lines slowly dripped down, getting longer and longer. Kumasawa's knees gave way, and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa had done this first, then Kano surely would have wanted to. Kano gulped, then readied the wire cutter and approached the door. He didn't want to get close to this disturbing magic circle, and he really didn't want to touch the steadily dripping substance that looked like blood. But if he didn't get clues, he wouldn't be able to cut the chain. Fighting this cold feeling, he gulped again, and after gathering his courage, he went even closer, putting the wire cutter against the chain. He then pressed with all of his strength, managing to cut through the chain far more easily than he had anticipated. The catch chain fell into separate parts. We continued to clang and as they swayed back and forth. It looked like Kumasawa had also noticed the western envelope at the bottom of the door, and that the sealing wax had been sealed with the head ring. Kano hesitated for just a second over whether he should open the letter first or check inside the room, but eventually decided on fulfilling his original purpose. Kano pulled an handkerchief out of his pocket. This was so he couldn't leave fingerprints on the door. Those fears were realized. The police would want to investigate this room too. He slowly pushed the door open. He was able to more clearly hear the sound of the television, which had been seeping out faintly this whole time. I was lying face up on the bed, with her shawl still on. Kumasawa, who had fearfully entered after Kano and was hiding behind his back, screamed a short "eek" again when she saw Eva like that. Eva shoe had been the first part of that canon scene, so the oddness of wearing shoes in the bed was the first thing to strike him. But whenever I had shifted into his line of sight, Kano couldn't help but let out a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Eva's forehead, something had been placed. Something that was growing there? No. Right in the center of her forehead was an old-fashioned knife? That or some weapon like it was sticking out. At the base of where it was struck in, blood dripped down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave way once more, and she sank down on the floor. Her mouth kept flapping open and closed, but she couldn't even scream. Eva was dead, with some kind of weapon sticking out of her forehead. Both eyes were open wide, and the image of the person killed there must have been burned into them. But the only mouth capable of naming that person had been shut for all eternity. What about Hideyoshi? Even though her forehead was the last place they wanted to look, they couldn't tear their eyes from it. Oh. Unexpected from music from the game, honestly.
This is the first time, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right there, the weapon was stuck into Elsa's forehead and the album was perfectly upright. Why is the music so good? There's no...
Wait
What
a
the
second.
heck?
Trust me. Wait for a second. Trust me.
Oh! Okay, Castlevania. Oh god, this one is so good. Okay, this is so good, honestly. And on the end, it was a complicated design that you wouldn't expect to see on an ordinary weapon. That thing. What the... What? Okay, no. This game has no right of having music this good.
I know, right?
I personally love when they mix classical instruments and make it sound like it's a modern song, make it sound like more rock or stuff like that. This one literally delivers.
Absolutely. I love this soundtrack so much.
That king could be summed up with the word occult. It was a vulgar object with a design that might have been of some demon. I was on top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? After taking backward glance at Kumasawa, still on her knees and stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. At the moment he opened the door, it was lit by the steam and the sound of the shower. The bathroom was of the same familiar style as most hotel bathrooms. When taking a shower, a waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. That waterproof curtain was half open, and lying humbled down in the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked with both eyes open. And pointing right at Khan. Oh god! Just like Eva, a weapon with a demon-like design was stuck into his forehead. Wait. Clear. Oh, it's not really a knife, it's like a nail.
I can tell you the name, the actual name, if you want.
Yes, sure. I mean,
It's a steak.
steak. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, like the one for the vampires.
Exactly.
Yes. Since his head had been under the shower, hot water his whole time, his face wasn't half covered and filthy with blood like Eva's had been. But the sight of him dead while still taking a shower was tragic enough.
We can read Eva's and Hideyoshi's profiles, I think.
Yes, because I heard that bleep bleep bleep.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, and they bought that. Okay. Found the bed of guest room inside the mansion with a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of her forehead. Found in the bathroom of the same guest room Eva was found. Like Eva was a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his forehead. You can see either of them by looking through the gap of the door while the chain is set. You can see them, so you can't reach them. Haze. How could a human possibly kill them?
Well, Butler asked for...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Butler asked Maria, tell Beatrice to kill someone without, in a way that for a human wouldn't be possible. Just then, they heard Natsui's voice coming from the hall. She was probably coming with Genji.
またしてもこのような落書きが。この手紙は中にはなんと。
いえ、まだ読んでおりません。
うかつに触らん方がいいですな。犯人の指紋が残っとるかもしれん。警察に渡した方がいい。
わざわざ手紙を残すくらいです。どうせ指紋など残っていません。
True. Anasui said that she picked it. As Anasui said that she picked up the envelope. As before checking its content, she entered the room herself, where she found Eva's dead.
エヴァさん、奥様。こちらには秀吉様も。
これはむごいですな。
カノン、シャワーを止めてあげなさい。気の毒にも程があります。はい。
Keanu grip his handkerchief and twist the valve, turning off the shower. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen with its cap off. It really looked like it had been attacked while taking a shower. There was still a small splash of blood clinging to the white bathtub, and the combination red and white made a horrible contrast.
わかった。市販は出とらんな。死後硬直も始まっとらん。おそらく殺されてから1時間経ったかどうか。しかしこのような柄の短い凶器で頭蓋骨は考えられん。
Now to check their pulse and their pupil, making certain of the death once more. As Keanu watched his business-like treatment, he thought, couldn't you tell a glance that they are dead without doing all that? Najo thought about removing the weapon, but then decided it'd be better to preserve the scene and hand it over to the police, so he left it alone. But a close inspection on the base showed that it didn't have a blade. It was in fact more conical than blade-shaped. You noticed that, rather than a knife, it was more like a short endless spear. Something with a shape better suited for thrusting than slicing. Then a short spear, you may call it a thick ice pick. At any rate, after looking at this scene, no further words were needed to describe what sort of terrible purpose such illy designed weapons were originally made for. Nor it was necessary to explain how they carried out their function. Nasui hoping to escape, the repulsive steam filling the bathroom as soon as she could, covered her mouth with a handkerchief and dashed from the room. Just viewing their gruesome bodies for an instant had been enough to burn their image into their eyes. If she looked any longer, that image would surely remain in her vision for all eternity. The rising urge to vomit was exactly the same feeling she had at the morning at the gardening storehouse. For a while, Natsui couldn't help but stand with her back facing the guest room. fighting that sickness in their stomach.
とにかくこの部屋を子供たちにジョージ君に見せるわけにはいき至急この部屋を閉じなさい。
見せられませんとも。両親のこんなむごい姿をとてもジョージさんには。
Well, but he could tell that those fritzy racing footsteps in the old way belonged to George even before he came dashing into the room. George and the other children had been waiting in the parlor. However, when they saw Genji speak to Natsui, when they saw her turn pale and fly out of the parlor, they felt a sense of foreboding. And when they saw a large group of people gather around the guest room, they were sure of it.
父さん母さん
なんだよこれ。また魔法陣かよ。
エヴァおばさんたちは無事なんだよな。
Sure.
Maria made up like, don't you know that's not a circle, you know?
おいカノン君、これは何の騒ぎなんだ。
バトラ様。
Karen didn't have to say anything. George screamed after running into the room, told them everything they needed to know.
誰がこんなことを殺してやる殺してやる。
ジョージ君しっかり。
Ansui touched George's shoulder with her hand, but he violently shook her off. George fell over beside Eva and buried his face in the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. Then he pounded on the bed with his fist over and over again.
ジョージ兄さんしっかり。バトラ様。
Butler had his back against the wall of the hallway and was covering his eye with his right hand and weeping without restraint.
ひでえぜ。心に決めた女を婚約した次の日に失った。同じ日に親父とおふくろまで殺されるなんてよ。そんなのあんまりにもむごいじゃねえか。
Of course, he said whenever anyone dies, no matter who it is, but to Butler, those left alone by the deaths of others were far more worthy of pity. Everyone here now had lost someone close to them. George wasn't the only one to be pitied. However, Joe's pain was far greater than anyone else.
バトラ。
そりゃよ。人はいつか
Yeah, but that's a lot sooner than it's supposed to happen.
誰だっていつかは死別の悲しみと戦わなきゃならねえ日が。でもよ、そいつはしかもそいつは一つずつ順番に訪れるべきもんじゃねえかよ。むごすぎるぜ。やろうやろう。少しは人の情けってもんがねえのかよ。
It was looking for Bartle a mechanical sounding voice. Bartle violently wiped his tear.
くそ。もう流さないぜ。悔し涙も悲しみの涙ももう二度と流さねえぜ。ああ、全然ダメだ。俺たちは魔女様に爪を食らってるわけだ。主勢一方ってわけだ。そりゃダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。チェス盤がひっくり返っちまうぜ。野郎は俺たち羊が明日まで逃げる手段もなく怯えてるだけだろうと。だからひっくり返すぜ。明日までこの島から逃げられねえのは野郎も同じだ。しょんべんちびりそうになりながら暴いてやるぜ。明日までに。いや明日なんか待たねえ。今夜だ。今夜中にその胸ぐらを掴み上げてやる。
This is a good place to stop.
Yes, let's just wait for the text to appear and then I can save.
Yes.
とにかくこの部屋は警察が来るまでこのままにして施錠します。
Okay, let me save. There we go.
So,
So,
that part that you were close.
yeah, I was actually. Well, I mean, it was them. At the beginning, before anything could have happened, I thought it was George and Shannon, because it was the young love story, and they really were selling that to you, especially in the scene with the ring and all the stuff. But then, when I saw these with Hideyoshi, that scene with Hideyoshi and Eva was definitely them.
Yeah.
Also, do we know when the first 6 died? It was like still at the end of the day, right?
Midnight of between the first day and the second day.
Okay. So yeah, still late day, basically.
Yes.
Okay. No, I was just wondering about timing of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, I did save. Okay, so let me check something. Just one more moment.
Yes.
Those who remain shall praise my noble name. So basically, they're telling, at this point, they're all gonna believe me.
Maybe.
Because, yeah, it was pretty close. They're all gonna believe that I exist or something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was just wondering what was gonna happen next. By the way, anything to add, OP, to this? Apart, shit just got down again.
Yeah, just that.
Just that? Okay.
Yes.
Any announcement for your streaming?
Nope, because I'm still up in the air, but we have a repo if you want.
Oh yes. Next stream there's gonna be Repo, and there's also gonna be Offie here. And other 2 people, Astra and Leia. And yes, we collab. We never played. I would like to pinpoint that we never played Apple. None of us ever played Apple Repo before. So stuff is gonna happen.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Yes, we have no idea what was gonna happen. What will happen? So yep. Okay.
Beatrice is going to jump in randomly.
Going to jump in randomly during Repo?
Yes, just because.
Okay. Okay. Let's rate Cool Cat Puppy, and then I'll tell you good night, everyone. I'll see you guys in 3 days, in a couple days. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.